there is a fire raging around us. And our response will determine our safety and our future in the US. Some of us think we really don't have to do anything. Just do my job, keep my head low. I can't really bother with it because it has nothing to do with me. I will not be touched by this fire. Somehow this fire around me will leave me alone. There are others who are frightened but do not know what to do. And there is a third group which is simply paralyzed by fear to the point that they can't even think. They are in denial. Fear is especially taking a toll on our Muslim sisters who wear the hijab. The most common question that I'm being asked these days is if Muslims can give up certain Islamic practices, and if there is a way for them to give up some of the outward manifest symbols that show that they are Muslims in today's Islamophobic culture. Tahta darura, under necessity. What the first group needs to realize is that we are not in our country of origin. This is the USA, and it has a certain history. And we need to be aware of some basics of that history before we can even begin to think about a response or to understand the gravity of the situation. So first, if you go back in history, you will realize that minorities have been targeted in horrible ways. In 1942, more than 100,000 people of Japanese ancestry, 62% of them were US citizens. They were put in internment camps, in concentration camps. The general of the army of that time, I'll quote you what he said. He said, "I don't want any of them here," meaning people of these Japanese ancestry. "I don't want any of them here. They are a dangerous element. There is no way to determine their loyalty." These were his words. It makes no difference whether he is an American citizen, he is still a Japanese. American citizenship does not necessarily determine loyalty. But we must worry about the Japanese all the time until he is wiped off the map. And these words, which were said some decades ago, resonate with us when we hear almost these are the same words which we hear being said not about the Japanese today, but about us, the Muslims. Hitler's Germany killed 6 million Jews in the Holocaust. So religious minority was terminated by a man who said very similar and very ugly things that are once again being said about us today. Now first, since educated Westerners from any camp of the society, from any field, from anywhere, they know their own history. And they are aware of what can happen. They are aware of that because they understand their own history. And they are rightly alarmed about the wave of Islamophobia that is running wild in our country today. Second, the rhetoric which was targeted in Germany was similar to the rhetoric used against Muslims today. If you want to know the details of that, for example, there is one book which I'll mention, Hitler's Willing Executioners. How did the whole nation become a nation which could not see what they were doing? and they were willing to become executioners for Hitler. At least read a book review if you cannot read the whole book. So, for example, it starts with words and it turns into actions. They cannot be trusted. We cannot tell the good from the bad among them. Their loyalty is under question. They all secretly send funds to extremist organizations. We really don't know what they are doing in their houses of worship. We really don't know what's happening behind these walls. They are all out here to get us to take away our freedoms because for some reason they hate us and our prosperity. Fear of Jews produced anti-Semitism, which led to the horrors of the Holocaust. Why do American Jews relate to today's Islamophobia? That's an important question. The reason is because it reminds them of what Hitler did to them. And Hitler was not one man. One man didn't do it to him. He was just the leader. It was something which the nations did, in particular the Germans. And they have spoken about it. They have written about it. The letter of the rabbi, explicitly, which was sent to us yesterday, and I highlighted this point, that we can relate to you and we can understand what happened to you because this happened to us. And they are telling us that they see where this is going. Please listen to what I'm saying. They are telling us they see where this is going because they have seen it happen to them, and that's why they are alarmed. Today, some Americans are scared for their own safety, and rightly so. We are in agreement over here. As a matter of fact, we are more scared than them. Because we are worried, because the bullets of these terrorists don't distinguish between Muslims or non-Muslims. As a matter of fact, most of the people all over the world who are being killed by these terrorists are not non-Muslims, they are Muslims. And on top of that, we have certain political, extreme political and religious elements promoting and fueling Islamophobia for their own self-interests. So we not only agree, but we feel even that we are even under a greater threat. But we disagree with the solution being presented. Shutting down mosques. And for those of you who might think, well, it's just rhetoric, it's just talk, right? It's just something I'm hearing on the news. They have already started shutting down mosques in France. And a lot of what happens, it starts off in Europe, and then their American counterparts follow suit over here. So in France, they have already started shutting down the mosques after the recent events. Making a registry or a database of Muslims for surveillance. So there is no doubt. The doubt is removed. Which camp you are in, which camp I am in. It's very easy to know us and to make us wear IDs and badges. And banning Muslims from entry into the US. For the precise same reasons which I outlined earlier. We don't know the good from the bad. We can't really trust them. Any of them. The freedoms we enjoy as American Muslims, the freedoms because of which many of us came and settled in the US, is in danger of being compromised. What is the solution? Before we speak about the solution, we need to understand one thing. Today, for reasons that I don't want to discuss, but there are reasons behind it. It's not a fair thing, it's not the correct thing. Okay? We completely deny it, we are against this, association, which I'm going to talk about. It's incorrect, and there are reasons for it, okay? And those reasons are important. But I will not talk about those reasons. But for some reasons, Islam today has been associated with terrorism. That's a fact. With attacking innocent civilians. One reason is that others are writing our narrative. We do not have any control over our own storyline. That is part of the problem. Going back, what is the solution? First, yes, we must distance ourselves from acts claimed to be done in our name. Right? That's the important reason, because these acts are being done supposedly in our name and in the name of our religion. Because of the false association that exists, or that has been created, that has been manufactured in the minds of people, it is important that we distance ourselves from it. But that is not enough. And there are some people who have, for the lack of a better word, they have graduated to the point like, yeah, we should denounce, and they feel that that's enough. We have denounced it. What more can we do? That is not enough. That brings me to the second point. We need to be more scared of our own inaction than of someone hurting us, of not taking a strong stand against hate and taking a visible stand against mistrust towards us. Inaction and silence in the times we are living in is a sin of negligence. 3, we must build relationships with moderate Jews and Christians without compromising or diluting our own faith or principles. We must stand with confidence in our values and beliefs. Number 4, we ask our moderate Jewish and Christian friends to educate the ignorant amongst them. And some of them have done so. And Pastor Jim Powell is an excellent example of that. And I applaud him and I admire him on behalf of the entire community for his efforts. But it needs to be, it needs to be taken more seriously by others as well. And to call out the extremists in their own ranks. People who are not necessarily at this point have not become extremists in action, but definitely they hold and harbor extreme type and irrational type of hatred and mistrust. Good Jews and Christians must speak publicly, openly and clearly against those who spread hate, intolerance and Islamophobia in the name of their faiths. 5th, American Muslims must write their own narrative. Don't let others define us. We need to do the hard work of defining ourselves, who we are. We must be agents of mercy, of rahmah, to those around us. Serve fellow human beings with devotion. Feed the poor. Stand for the rights of the underprivileged. And live up to the ideals of our faith and to be good Muslim role models. Remember, our ancestors who went to Africa and Indonesia did not convert the local people by force, but by being honest, by upholding the beautiful teachings of our deen, of speaking the truth, of dealing fairly, compassion, and caring gentleness. This is exactly what we need to do. Smile at those at work who ignore you, and continue doing so. Go for lunch with co-workers and pay for them. Treat your patients well and spend the time which is necessary with them. If asked, what do you think about terrorism done in our name? Say with confidence and say with holding your head high. They are criminals whose actions have nothing to do with Islam. These are criminal acts, and if you can put in another important sentence, just like the people of other faiths. Recently, 2 Christians, claimed to be Christians, committed a shooting in a black church in South Carolina and another one in Planned Parenthood, and their faith is Christian. But no Christian in their right mind associates those acts of violence, of killing, with Christianity. Similarly, actions which are being done in our name should not be associated with us or our faith. Now, I realize that it is hard to practice Islam openly in today's environment. This low level, this latent fear, which many of us have felt for a long time, I can relate to it. I can understand. The temptation to become Sam from Ismail and to take off one's hijab is very strong. I truly admire the bravery and the courage of our sisters who wear the hijab, which is their ID, their badge, when people are staring at them, especially lately. They're just giving them those looks, and they're scared of being attacked at any moment. May Allah help you. They are the Sumayya of today who adhere to their faith in the face of danger. And their husbands, their fathers, their brothers, their relatives, and we as a community, we need to appreciate these sisters. May Allah bless you, and may Allah protect you, and may Allah keep you strong. Alhamdulillah, I was honored to be nominated by good friends at the Central Illinois Interfaith Alliance to join the Board of Trustees. Inshallah, starting from January, I'll be serving a 2-year term with them. Inshallah, I anticipate much good to come out of it. One thing which the Alliance has committed to is to put a full-page ad in the Journal Star with the names of churches and religious leaders, endorsing the ad in denouncing the prevalent Islamophobia and a call to action. And the call to action will be to attend an open house at IFP. We will, inshallah, rent the billboards to advertise the open house. So even those who do not come to the mosque, there will be few who will come. People are not going to come in large numbers. But they need to see, and our children need to see, that we are open, we can be trusted, and it is our Jewish and Christian friends who will stand and who will speak about their friendship with us. And that in this country there is no place for hatred, for bigotry, for Islamophobia in particular. And that we as Muslims have a right to live and practice our faith without fear. We need the financial support of the community to spread this message of peace and harmony in partnership with our faith-based partners. This will take money, because the people who are putting the counter narrative have a lot more resources and money. This is the least we have to do in order to invest in our own safety and in the future of our own children. Yes, Darul Uloom is important. Yes, community shelters are important. Yes, expansions are important. You must be able to see the value of investing in these types of projects to fight hate openly and clearly. I cannot overemphasize the importance of what I'm trying to bring across. We're also initiating a Jewish-Muslim dialogue, one for our youth and another one for our adults, in which participants will share what is common between them. And I and my rabbi friend, we agree, what is common among us is our status as religious minorities in America. That's what we share. I will send inshallah a sign-up sheet for those interested in building bridges with our Jewish cousins. We are also in talks with the Riverfront Museum in Peoria and our faith-based friends about holding interfaith sessions as well as town hall meetings open to the public to discuss and address Islamophobia in partnership with Community Word, Bradley University, and ICC. Some friends have made a commitment to hold small study circle classes for pastors to educate them about Islam and Islamophobia, to give them a platform to discuss the issue of Islamophobia, which is rampant in our society, in a very open, sad way, to be able to discuss that so they can take this message of peace and understanding back to their own congregations and become vessels of harmony. And there is more. We pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to use us as vessels for spreading peace, understanding, and harmony, and the true ideals of our faith, because that's who we are. May Allah help us fight the bigotry of Islamophobia with wisdom, dedication, and courage.